I certainly agree with you here. I think Falcons have certainly come out with not necessarily the better draft, John, but the better draft for this game one. It feels like as long as Marine has a decent game, they're just going to pop off. It could be a quick one.
It could be. This music's great. What is this? This is fantastic music for a potential matchup that dictates whether or not Moodeng stays in this tournament. This is not the tone that they're having in the boot camp for sure. But this is great. I love it.
Have fun, crits out. Oh, that's nice from Abed.
Man, when did Abed start all chatting, man? What happened to this kid?
Yeah, he used to be that guy, but he's let himself go. Oh, hold on. Crit's already searching around here. He's already found a couple targets. It's kind of the thing with the bounty hunter. Just early on, you can always keep tabs as to where everyone is, and Falcons naturally probably going to look for a first blood attempt at this rate. Did they see him? I think they may have.
No, doesn't seem like. There were pings, but I do believe the re-invis from Fritz just right outside vision did break smoke, I do believe, rather close, but they didn't commit the sentries for it.
Well, they're not going to give up first blood here against Falcons. It's going to be a 2-for-2 trade.
No.
Oh,
3-for-1.
3-for-1 trade. Okay, never mind. 3-for-1. Falcons get away with an extra bounty.
They're a little bit defensive on the side of Moodeng, but they're still going for this late smoke play with Ollie jabs. Crit breaks it again, though, and they're still not committing any of their sentries. It's like, all right, we can't kill off the bounty. Smoke's gone. I'm not sure what they were expecting with that kind of movement out from Moodeng. And it just, it wastes some gold, which is not a great feeling. Do manage to get the better block on Malrine as well, so we're taking a look at that mid lane. Again, this is, well, I don't know how you play this as Abed. You just try to survive, try to throw breed fire every now and again, and just don't die, as Malrine will just control this lane with burning spears anyhow. So, again, I mean, this last pick Husker just ruins Abed's time. Like, this DK is not going to have a great time in lane. They both don't care for water runes too much, so it's not going to be something prioritized, but you might want a little bit of an earlier support rotation if you can afford to have it. Like, the issue is your supports are all magic damage, so the Husker might just be able to shrug off that damage, even just the value points up on his passives.
Well, there's not much Abed can do for sure in this mid lane right now. That's very evident. Of course, mid lane, or rather bottom lane, JT and Jabs against Skitter and Snaking. Feels like it should be a pretty okay lane here for Falcons, especially once Skitter has a couple more levels up in that static link, though Jabs is going to try and jump in with JT and see if they can take down Snaking for a quick first blood. Snaking does not have Icarus dive yet, needing a creep to die before he does have the skill point, but it's not going to work out. JT will end up getting first blood. So they will lose Jabs, and now Skitter going to try and return the favor over to JT. He won't find a kill, but he will sap away quite a bit of damage.
He does. I don't think you mind that too much. First blood bonus for JT is pretty damn big, but having to make that sacrifice already feels good. Skitter gets some solo EXP for himself. That level 3 spike lining up a little bit quicker here for the Razor, considering those circumstances. So you're still not too upset. You're seeing some poking, prodding up top with Ollie and Crit just going at it. And so far, the top lane's probably your best bet right now in Moodeng. Like, this is a stable lane for your morph lane. You're just going to be able to farm up. Amar can't really pressure a morph, especially as level 3 approaches, once you've got the safety net of attribute shift level 2. As long as 423 doesn't get too greedy, he shouldn't be caught by surprise too badly. You're out of mana on Ollie, though, so that can make this lane a little bit more playable for Crit, but he's not even looking for any sort of cheeky pulls. He's just hanging the lane and does manage to force out the sentry reveal as well with that hit onto himself. So should be able to get some D wards going, already buying out. Again, this economy war for sports will not feel good. Like, even though Crit is going to have to buy his own sentries as well, you're playing into Zeus with Thunderbolt. Eventually, as long as you're soaking into that 6 and you play off track, then you're still going to be happy as a bounty hunter.
Oh, absolutely. Looks like he'll get the healing notice as well. Looking back at mid, Malrine, he's getting jumped right now, but the problem is Jabs, he's level 2, John. He can't do too much. But it just feels like you're going to feel... Oh, no, he misses the flame break. He's just going to die. I mean, this is why, like, I know you were saying earlier you might want to see early support rotations, but I feel like most of the time this is what happens. Like, you rotate a support, you force it to try and give your mid laner a way to come back into this game, and you end up giving even more gold back the way of the Husker.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that didn't feel like a great rotation anyhow. Like, Abed was already low and walking away, so there was nothing really Jabs could do in that situation, I feel like the time was just maybe slightly off. You have to be there before the Husker is able to drop anyone too low already, and just hope you have enough damage. And even then, like even just the Bat Rider alone just doesn't feel like it's gonna cut it. You need Ollie to be able to leave 4-3 somehow, but that also causes some issues here for the Morphling left solo. So a strong start for Falcons, 2-1, 2K lead at 4 minutes. And they're just really running down almost every lane outside of 4-3. Like this Morphling lane is the only playable lane for the side of Moodeng Warriors. And again, even if this Morphling gets free farm, it takes time for Morph to hit that point where he can join in these early fights. We're just seeing a bog standard power treads and Vlad's offering here for 4-2-3, nothing too strange or special. And I don't think that timing's going to be the launching point for Morphling to actually join a rotation. So it's back to that weakness of the draft, just a little bit slower. Whereas the side lanes of Falcons, the mid lane of Falcon, again popping off hard. Skitter on a Razor at level 6 has heavy kill threat, is already enjoying his matchup up against JT, as you would expect. Bristleback, not the comfiest there.
ATF dropping pretty low top lane. Crit's going to intervene, and ATF going to be just fine. It's now 4-2-3, and Ollie the ones need to retreat because Crit is not backing off. He has another Shuriken toss, and he is going to take down Ollie. Not only does ATF survive, but they find a freebie onto Ollie now. And 4-2-3 not going to be feeling so safe to stick around. Will be forced to retreat and look for a bit of a reset, but he has no regen, and Crit's looking to snipe him. 4-2-3 going to be a little bit cautious. Meanwhile, JT down at bottom lane is going to go down, and now Jab's in trouble. Jab's trying to trade with Skitter, but ends up giving a double kill away now.
This does not bode well for the side of Moodeng Warriors. Falcons playing it clean, and their draft doing them a lot of favors, but even just the execution lane to win out quite hard here. They're applying pressure onto the one lane that Moodeng felt like they were slightly winning at. They are at least keeping track of Crit with a good sentry ward placement from Ollie after TPing down into the mid lane, but you're losing out a lot of ground, and this rough start for the side of Moodeng Warriors means that you really have no core that will act as a launching point. Ollie? Look at Snaking chasing all the way back.
Oh yeah. This rotation's a bit interesting to me. He's going to find Crit at least, so you do get that for Ollie, but like securing power runes right now against the Husker, it's never going to be that easy. Maybe he just wasn't expecting Crit to be around, and in fairness again, Ollie kind of got the better end of that trade anyway. My only concern is you're just giving so much more golden XP to Malrine, which I think is quite a bad idea at the moment considering how far ahead he already is.
Yeah. You're just accelerating this timing into that full armlet here for Malrine, and he's just set to have it. Again, there's no contest. You abandon the lane as Abed. What are you supposed to do with Moodeng on this draft, right? Like, it's not like we're going to see an insane Ags timing on JT that you can launch off. Vlad's on 4-3 is not going to change this game in terms of engaging into these enemy heroes. You're going to have these early timings lining up on Falcons, and you just have nothing that you can really utilize. At this point, Snaking's more formed than Abed. Like, the Phoenix is worth more net worth than the mid DK. That's just how badly Abed's lane has gone, forced to go into this matchup.
Oh, now Crit stalking Ollie, just wanting the Wisdom Rune. Ollie, not much he can really do about this. Crit, of course, will take the Wisdom, but Crit will have to die for the Wisdom. There is that. But Crit, we see this all the time from this man. He does not give a crap about dying if he takes the Wisdom, as now the rotation out from Skitter is going to ensure at least one trade. Can Skitter get his way out? He's going to go for the man fight. JT's the one in trouble. Oh, and now Ollie...
Oh, Lord.
No. Oh, it's painful to watch, John. It hurts me to see that, John.
It hurts, Mikey, but we saw the hurt coming in with the draft. You know, when this draft was forming, we're like, all right, yeah. I mean, if they didn't get Husker, they'd get Timbered. Maybe it's a little bit less of a rough time, but still a rough time nonetheless for the side of Moodeng, and that's with them just opening with Bristle. You know, they pick this Bristle back early, they feel safe, they're forced to ban out all of the Bristle back counters, so it leaves a lot of things open for the side of Falcons. And Falcons adapt in the draft. Like, they just open with Pangolier, nice and safe, they pick up the bounty, you know, and they still get left as Phoenix answer to burn down these high HP heroes. Husker is left alone because, I mean, some teams have been banning Husker last pick up against Falcons, but Moodeng just leave it, and, you know, none of your lanes look good. Your timings are just not there. 5K lead at 8 minutes. 5K at 8. 5K at 8. We don't see that. You don't see that. This is not with an Alchemist or Doom. This is just a bog standard game. You're just that far behind in Moodeng.
We haven't even started with the bounty hunter tracks yet, John. He hasn't even hit level 5 yet.
Oh,
it's
JT.
gonna get worse as JT. He doesn't really seem that tanky as a bristleback right now, I'll tell ya. Tier 1 bottom tower, of course, is going to be going down very fast. And like I said, if you think the net worth's bad now, just wait till Crit has level 6. It's going to get a hell of a lot worse here, I think, for Moodeng Warriors.
Yeah, they're losing their triangle now off the back of that take. Love these forward wards coming out from Falcons to ensure this aggression onto this bot area. They did pop eggs, and maybe the teamfight presence isn't as strong. And Moodeng is starting to clump up a little bit. Eye of the Storm's also down.
4-2-3. Copper stun. A bit's going to move into Crit, so at least they can find themselves a bounty. Problem is, like, most of the creeps are already taken in that triangle. They've got a couple left. They'll move back in and take those. But pretty rough. I mean, just so much gold being stolen away from Moodeng. It's just the disparity. Like, Malreen's level 9, Arbit's still level 6. Obviously, JT just has not taken off the way he would have liked. And with this style of draft, where you are playing a bit of a slower style of draft, it's the one thing you don't want is to start even slower. But that's kind of what we're seeing here. And Falcons, in the meantime, they're off to the perfect start. They couldn't ask for much more as JT is dead again.
Yeah, just like that. Have you ever seen a DK this poor? Not in any for years have we ever seen, especially post facets. We've never seen a DK this poor. You should be able to farm up with Cleave, but where can Abed actually farm? You know, he's sharing his jungle with his Bristleback, he's sharing his jungle with his Morphling. It's still slow going anyway, even when he hits that jungle. Snaking's still ahead. Snaking getting his own jungle stacks going for himself. He's having a great old time. 3.3k net worth. He's matching JT's farm as well. Like, this Phoenix, I mean, it's not that the Phoenix is super farmed. It's that your cores are just so damn poor.
Yeah.
Like, this is just... I don't know. This is despair, Michael Phoenix.
It's despair, John.
It's so sad. This is Southeast Asia. This is Southeast Asia. And, I can't bear it. I can't bear to think about Moodeng. If Moodeng could understand Dota, she would not be very happy.
No.
About her war.
No, I don't think she would be, John. I don't think she would be. Maori, onto Roshan. I mean, it's going to be taken. Snaking's not going to die. He'll naturally just walk away and kite it out. Maureen, easiest Roshan of his life. As expected. Top lane, meanwhile, 4-2-3 being chased by ATF will be okay, as Skitter's going to have a quick pause. Go on, Skitter. Tell us it's Discord. Tell us that's the problem, Skitter.
He's not even saying it. He's just implying it. He's just implying it. Discord or some such. Always is. Headset. Maybe. Mayhaps. This is, let's try. I'm going to try to huff some copium and see what Moodeng Warriors can do. What Moodeng will do is work that Southeast Asian magic and everyone AFK farms for 20 minutes. Somehow Falcons will forget that they can win this game. And Moodeng Warriors will farm to the point where they get the Blink up, they get the 4-staff up on their Bat Rider. You know, you have 1 or 2 major items on Abed and on JT. And then maybe these fights start to open up. And then also you stack Glimmer Capes. That's the way.
Yeah.
But they will have to work some dark magic to make Falcons forget that. I love this for thinking as well, just breaking off. Reason for pause, Skitter needs a second. A second for what? That's why Balian's asking.
That's not a reason, Snaking.
He needs a second for what?
Sorry, we'll never know, John. We'll never know.
I guess he just needed a second. That's it.
There you go. Skitter's back.
Maybe the Lego broke for it.
We're almost at a 1k a minute advantage here for Falcons so far. Almost. 9k to 11 and a half minutes as Abed now trying to run. Will be okay to do so. Malreen could not get in range for the life break. Top lane. It seems like everyone's just farming at the moment. ATF not really contested whatsoever here in this dire jungle. And it seems like Malreen's just going to start on tier 2 towers now. It feels early, but I guess he can just take them.
Yeah. And you kind of really do want to shut out Moodeng. If they're allowed to actually just play this passive game, and if this network stays stagnant, from Falcons, like say it's a 9k lead, 8 minutes past. You know, this lead doesn't grow. Moodeng suddenly has a game that's a little bit more playable. You've got cores that means your cores are keeping up or starting to catch up a little bit. The disparity goes into more of the supports, and the game just becomes a little bit more manageable despite the strong start. So you do want to apply that pressure here on the side of Falcons as much as possible. Like, look at what Jab's doing as he starts to get caught out.
Yeah. It's kind of the hard part. Like you want to creep skip and just farm wherever you can as Moodeng, but you are also playing against the crit bounty hunter, right? So it's like most of the map is just not going to be safe because he's just going to roam the whole map and he's going to keep tabs of where everyone's farming, and eventually you are going to die.
Pretty much. It's I mean, they have the right ideas. They're stalling the game as much as they can. It is not the smoothest, but you are trying to find some space. Like, you did clear out a lot of space up top. Abed sitting in that jungle now. You had a lot of room for 4-2-3. He's 2 parts away from his Yasha into the Manta style, and that could be the sort of something new once that item eventually gets built up. But that map space is shrinking. Malrine solos that tier 2 bot. They can set their sights elsewhere. Amar's just been camping top. He's got the defusal to try to chase here.
4-2-3. ATF may have gone a bit too far up the top lane. They are going to go for the jump in, though ATF actually almost dealing with 4-2-3, but eventually they will get him. Abed to secure the kill. That's a big one. Something that I think they'll be very appreciative of on the side of Moodeng Warriors. But Falcons, they're still just chilling. Like, they're just hitting the tier 2 mid tower. Malrine's just hanging about waiting for the next wisdom rune. I mean, yeah, ATF feeds you a kill. It doesn't really change the game yet, sadly.
Not yet, but if that happens again and again, it's just down to how chill do you want to be on Falcons, right? Like, are you just perfectly fine after taking that tier 2? You're just going to camp the triangle, give all of this room up top to Moodeng Warriors to farm? Because this is where they're going to be hanging out. You've got to get some heroes in to at least contest the area, prevent them from feeling too comfy, to, again, prevent this farm up from the side of Moodeng. It's still a 10k lead for Falcons at 15 minutes in. It's still an insanely good game for the side of Team Falcons. But, you know, now Abed's above Snake King's net worth, which it's not really a great thing to say, but hey, it's an improvement for Moodeng Warriors. The scan at least flips as well on the side of Falcons. So they do have the sense to not maybe directly charge there. They are going for a smoke play out on Moodeng Warriors, though. Again, they have some damage coming in. They did surrender their tier 2 mid as well. And the side of Falcons are still playing as a unit for the most part, outside of Amar, maybe just sitting away from the rest of his team. So there is that. And Moodeng Warriors are still, again, still waiting for a lot of items to be up before they're fully comfy here. Aegis still has a minute up for Malrine. Not too much to worry about. They're applying pressure in 2 lanes, keeping it shoved in. They've denied half of the map away from the side of Moodeng Warriors, and they'll actually just threaten high ground.
That they will. Tier 3 tower now under siege, 15.5 minutes into the game. The Moodeng Warriors, I mean, they don't really have many answers here. They've got to hope for a miracle. Malrine only has 40 seconds left on the Aegis, so there is that. They could try to time the Aegis expiry. But then you've got to still deal with Malrine, which is not going to be easy, even with low HP. Malrine very confidently going after the range barracks. Will be able to take it no problem. Onto the melee barracks he will go. And I think Moodeng Warriors understand that they actually have no choice in the matter. They've got to let it go down. They just got to hope that Falcons look to retreat after that Aegis does expire. And I think they probably will. I think the bot racks being taken is probably good enough for Falcons for now.
It's again one lane that's constantly going to be pressuring in, one lane that's not going to be worth as much when they are going in for the farm. Aegis does expire, just a full reset for Malrine. And Amar plays tag.
TF, he's just going in. He looks like he's going to stick around for the creep wave, is he? No,
he's bored.
I mean, he probably quite literally is just bored at this point.
I mean, what are you gonna do? He was just AFK farming top for the entire game for the most part. The rest of his team has just been winning everything else. He dies once and he's joining his team and no fights break out. You're gonna be bored as a Pangolier. You know, you've got this blink, you've got this defusal, you want to play poke, you want to get some kills. And Moodeng obviously isn't gonna be offering those kills to you. They have to play this very defensive and passive game. Scan again, saving Abed. Heads up scans from Moodeng to Just get them out of danger, keep this farm game going. Never feels great when your mid DK is going for force staff next. Like that is, I mean, it helps you out massively, but it still doesn't feel good. You've got the Ags for JT. You know, he's got the gold for it, so that's a start. Bristleback Ags, 17.5 minutes, considering that rough start. Could be worse, could be 20 minutes. So you have that spike, but you're not tanky enough in JT to really play just yet.
Falcons looking at 4-2-3 now. But they'll find JT first instead. Jump in onto the Bristleback. 4-2-3 sticking around to try to help out, but JT's already dead. They'll go after Crit on the bounty. Crit actually proving to be a lot tankier than you'd first anticipate, but will finally go down as now the jump in for Ollie. Skitter will take the Zeus's life away, but they've jumped in on the Razor. Here comes ATF though with the Rolling Thunder, and it doesn't look good for Moodeng Warriors as they're going to lose 4-2-3 and Jabs. And they only end up finding Crit.
Yeah, and that's just not enough for the side of Moodeng. The fact that they found Crit is already a little bit of a blessing considering the positioning of her bounty hunter. So the rest of these kills come out without track, which is a small, I guess, silver lining for the side of Moodeng Warriors, as Falcons are just, well, they're eating up Moodeng. You know, imagine a big bird picking up a baby pygmy hippo. That's this game. It's very sad.
Jump in again for Abed, but Abed's going to be okay. This game now 17k advantage for Falcons at almost 19 minutes in. It just has not slowed down at all for the Falcons. Matters getting worse and worse here, as I believe we have a full Satanic on the way now for Maureen. So if it was hard enough to kill now, imagine a 4-2-3. Maureen's going to chase him through the twin gate. 4-2-3, can he actually get away? Maureen, he needs to get in range for that life break. He is trying to cut him off. Here comes ATF and Crit as well, so it looks like 4-2-3 might actually just be screwed. He's got no way out of here. 4-2-3, he'll jump through the tree line, but I think it's all too late for him, the poor guy. He will die. And Falcons, of course, will start running through the bottom lane, maybe looking to go high ground once again. Snaking?
Yeah.
No, they can't even deal with the Phoenix.
No, all alone. He's all alone. You can't stop him. He has a Glimmer Cape. What a Solar Crest. Hard to kill off that Phoenix. 17-6, 18k lead for Falcons. And if you're Moodeng right now, I'm just trying to imagine. Again, I'm looking for some copium here, just to try to spicing this up a little bit. I guess the motivational force of the threat of the ladder in your room and Sunby going for a jump takedown on you is motivation enough. That is a image that they will have to drill into their minds here on Moodeng Warriors. But at least I don't think, again, Pete does wrestling. I'm not even sure if he watches wrestling. I'm not sure if he's a type, actually. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, no, probably not, but he should. If good old Sunby is watching this right now, search for some videos of wrestling and try to practice the takedown.
Well, they're having a look. Abed with a very quick blink away does make it out. Again, I mean, the bright side here for Moodeng Warriors is Falcons have only got one Rax. I think that's the biggest bright side we have here to talk about. So it seems like they did spot out Snaking. Snaking going for a run down south, trying to avoid the gank that is incoming from the side of Moodeng Warriors, and he will be okay for now, though the chase does continue. Roshan is available, by the way, so it's a big deal for Moodeng if they can get a good team fight to go their way, but ATF's already popped that Rolling Thunder, going right towards them. He's going to find Abed and JT in the back. It's already looking like a bad team fight here for Moodeng Warriors because they're just trying to retreat out of here. JT's been left behind, though. JT will eventually die, and so will Jabs. They know they've got to fight over Roshan, but as you see, as soon as the rest of the team does show up, they kind of appreciate that they have no chance at winning the fight.
Yeah, there's just no way. There's no way. They call it.
Yeah.
They call it, they're done. Which is fair enough. 21 minutes, 19-6, 20k lead for Falcons, and up still. And this does kind of fit into that tempo, as we've got some hype techno music into a pause. That's some very hype techno.
What reason do you think? Oh, there you go. Snaking straight away just says bug. Sound bug. Just say Discord, boys. Just say Discord. It's easier that
could
way.
Could be an actual in-game Dota 2 bug, you know?
Oh, come
So it's not Discord. JT's disconnected. He could have Discord issues. Still has the weirdest camera out of his entire team. Like, what is up with his PC's camera? They're in the boot camp.
Yeah.
Why is his camera just so odd? And whereas Malrine, we can't see his cat ears anymore, as requested from Michael Phoenix. No fun.
Nobody requested that, John. Well, the cat ears anyway. I would request they get them the hell out of here. So pause continues here between these two sides. Looks like we are going to have Malrine reconnect. Now, JT, what's your reason for disconnecting, sir?
This camera is just unbelievable. I'm enjoying it. You know what? I'm just gonna watch him.
Is he got a filter on or something?
No, it's just really bad. I don't know why. Like, everyone has the same camera. It's a boot camp. Everyone should have the same equipment. Except JT just has like a camera from 2004. Look at that. I can count on one hand the number of frames I see there. Outstanding stuff.
Smoke on smoke scenario here though, John. ATF actually going to run right into Jabs, who does go into the invis. It's like ATF almost wanted to fight this early. To see Moodeng, they are hanging about the mid lane. I mean, both sides do have some pretty decent level 1 team fight if they do want to go for it. It seems like Moodeng might just play the avoid game, just try to secure some boundary runes like last game around. Is Abed handing some tips over to JT for whatever reason?
Where there's a way, there's a way.
Crit? Gonna run into JT. It's like Falcon's gonna sit back on the bottom side. Jabs will have a gander. There's no sentry wards here to see this bounty hunter rotation. And he gets away with it. Very nice here from Jabs. Swipes the banner in away. Have fun from Abed. It is going to be a 2-for-2 trade anyway. So an even start this game 1 around. Rather this game 2 around. And this time in the mid lane, Abed should have a much better time because it's going to be a Quap versus Razor matchup in his favor.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too rough. Again, you don't tend to go Shadow Strikes in Mordo, so walking into the Screen of Pain will still leave you in the firing line for the Plasma Field, but with levels up and Blink down line, you're not going to be too concerned about the static link at the very least. So, much more manageable lane for Abed. And Malrine, he's going to have to work a little bit more to try to get full value. He's still getting a fun time, at least while the Blink isn't quite up for Abed. But that will equalize relatively soon into the level 2. Rune controls can be easier for Abed with the Blink as well. So I'm curious to see if Falcons shift gears and tries to get that stolen away from the Quap. You do have good supports to get that done. Taking Gander up top as well. You've got the Beastmaster safe lane coming out here for 4-2-3, which we did see from Yatoro ourselves in the match yesterday. And it does make a lot of sense. Laning into the LC is a little bit better for the Beastmaster. It is still a melee matchup into Legion Commander, but you've got the Boars and their slow, plus the Sting, plus the Gale and the Wards later on. That can come in from Ollie, so there's a lot of debuffs to kind of throw out. Debuffs that don't really need too much resetting from press the attack. So that is giving a little bit more presence and threat out with his Venomancer pick. Down bot, you do have Skitter just getting poked a little bit from JT and Jabs, running that Terrorblade off lane here, up against Snaky on Phoenix again and the Alchemist for Skitter. And this one should be relatively stable. Again, JT has some presence. Reflection's always going to feel good. The threat of Metamorphosis, once it is up, is pretty big. And Jabs, again, has a lane that, at very least, he's not having to just go back and pull. He is looking for a few trades here and there, and they have coverage with his sentries to allow Jabs a little bit more reach and to keep their camps open as well. So, a much better start in the lanes for the side of Moodeng. We're not seeing them get completely obliterated. In fact, they are having a pretty decent time in farm so far. Abed.
Oh, nice deny. ATF getting a deny off onto crit. The Gale was, of course, going, so the deny was possible here for ATF, but that was very nice as well, because 4-2-3 and Ollie were both going onto crit, but just could not secure the final hit.
Yep, takes away a little bit of that effort in, some of that mana already gone. Ollie doesn't quite have enough to keep the Gale spam up along with the Plague Wards. So you're stuck with less tools to play with in the lane, no region in sight just yet for Ollie. Gives a bit of an opportunity to chase down onto 4-2-3, but He does have the board to help cop through the battery assault and does get the deny off. They also should have Lotus control. They managed to reshove this lane on the side of Moodeng Warriors, so that could be a little bit of a boon, but doesn't look like they can really course correct too hard into the 3-minute mark, which should give some leeway out for Amar. Although he's not going to go too far, and let's see who does snag this one away. It is 423, so does get a little bit going. At the very least, again, you're finding more things in the lane. Like, just winning out this Lotus is already a lot better than what we're seeing from game 1 for Moodeng. So some massive improvements across the board that we're seeing at 3 minutes in. Again, Abed's crushing his mid lane this time in comparison, or at least keeping it even with Malrine. He's not getting crushed fully. He's got his bottle, he's got the refills from the bounty, and he's got a game to play. Mind you, Malrine has not been pressured whatsoever. Full mana, just waiting for a bottle refill, has the level 2 plasma field, so can also just poke and prod when Abed steps a little bit too close.
Kid is dropping very low now. The Fire Spirits are going to save his life as Jabs could just knock any hits off. And in fact, Jabs is the one that might die as the dive is in now from Snaking, but it's not going to be enough. Jabs will barely survive. But a lot more pressure being applied down to this bottom lane. It seems like the JT Jabs combo with the Bounty TB certainly proving to be a lot better than, say, last game around.
That it is. It's all down to having this Metamorphosis threat up. And it is doing a good job from JT and just zoning out. In fact, Snaking
kind of just kept running towards them. Wanted to get by the T1 tower, but it may cost his own life as Snaking's trying to find a way out. Skidder is now rushing in as well, but it's all too late. They've lost the Phoenix. I like this. In fact, Skidder. Not anticipating they just keep going, but that's exactly what they're trying to do here is Skidder. Well, he's going to be okay. The Metamorphosis did expire. But once again, Moodeng Warriors down at this bottom lane having a pretty damn good time.
That they are. Again, this side of Falcons really have to just respect when Metamorphosis is up. You're doing a great job on Jabs. He's just being infuriating towards Snaking, not allowing too much positional play to come in. You are seeing just the pokes and prods onto mid. Again, you're not getting the best value from Malrine for that static link. He leaves at level 1, having to just play with a plasma field will allow him to farm a little bit better in camps at the very least. And that is something that he should be looking forward to with some of these stacks in the triangle on the hard camp. So, do you have that platform potential starting to drag up? But overall, at the outside of bot lane, maybe going a little bit rougher here for Skitter, you are still relatively happy with the rest of your lanes. Amar's having a decent enough time. You are getting that steady build-up for 4-2-3 this time around. Malrine's holding mid off very nicely. And for the side of Moodeng Warriors, the key point here is when we start to see some more commitment, you know, as we approach level 6s, as that starts to become a reality, as track starts to come in, that's where things can get really spicy for Moodeng Warriors. They should be able to secure their own bounties as well. Maybe a steal, but you're not really in position into 6 and 7 minutes here to try for that just yet. We'll have to see down the line. Some emphasis for those power runes at 6 minutes though. At least crit already showing up early here.
Yeah. It will be spawning down bottom. Jabs will be able to take it for himself, so no power rune for Malrine. Speaking of that mid lane, Malrine has still pulled ahead when it comes to the CS against Abed, but it is a much closer situation between these two sides. So this Abed, again, will be actually probably having a game this time around. Though Malrine still having a pretty strong performance. He's not really too affected by it whatsoever. See what Abed can do with this this farm and XP he has acquired, but yeah, Malrine again still having a great old time. In fact, he's going to rotate top.
Oh.
ATF has hit level 6. He's got Jewel up. They want to go for a quickie. 4-2-3, not expecting it by the looks of it, and well, now he's going to find out the hard way as the Jewel will come in at the end. And already ATF plus 10 damage, and of course 4-2-3 not too happy with that death.
No, I mean, I get what they're trying to do on Moodeng. Theoretically, the Beastmaster is here. You can leave alone in lane, allowing the Venomancer to just jungle up. And Ollie is getting a lot of space out in that jungle. The investment is going to be worthwhile with Arcane's, Mech, or Solar Crest coming out at a nice time. You do have to just be a little bit aware of that movement across. They did have the ward as well watching towards the outpost, but again, just maybe not anticipating the Razor TP into the tier 1 does cost them a little bit. They've got room to clear out in mid. They're slowly shoving it in with all of these wards coming out from Ollie at least, but that is leaving a little bit of breeding room again up top for Amar to free farm. The bot lane is still a little bit tenuous. for Skitter. Bottom network core as Alchemist, never a good position to be in. But his lane has been higher pressure. And again, JT's done a fantastic job of pressuring whenever Metamorphosis is up along with jabs. And it doesn't feel like they really stopped the bounty. Like their Sentry presence isn't really anywhere behind the tier 1. The bounty hunter's been very free to just poke behind and snipe couriers and try to gain net worth that way. And there's still no response for this mid. Slowly but surely just getting poked down by Abed and Ollie as well.
Ollie. It'll be alright. Jab's still having a look around through this Radiant jungle to see if he can find anyone. Not quite running into anyone quite yet. He'll head down bottom again. Looks like slowly but surely... I mean, Skitter's had a pretty rough start to this game on the Alchemist. Obviously, the laning stage has not been really going well for him. We'll need to find a decent way of trying to keep up here. Kind of the thing as well, they haven't made many rotations down bottom to allow the bottom lane to be freed up a little bit here for Skitter. So they are kind of just allowing him to have a slower start and allow ATF and Malrine to kind of take over the farm game, which is something we tend to see a lot with Falcons. If one core's having a bad time, they don't necessarily care so much because the other two can also just carry the game. Abed's gonna provide us with a smiley face apparently for whatever reason.
Yeah. Also saw a little bit of gate moving out from 423. He's still trying here.
Jump in, they'll go on to Snake King. Meanwhile, Jabs though is gonna die. So Malrine able to get one, though Abed now has rotated, moving on to the Razor. Sonic Wave does barely connect on Malrine, but it's not enough yet. The Scream will be though. 423 now in danger. 423 will go down. Abed trying to find a way to kill off Crit in the middle of all this. Will blink right in, takes him out. ATF also in danger, does drop as well as Abed finds a triple kill.
Yeah, it's starting to fall a little bit flat here on the side of Falcons. I think this is boiling down to a couple of things. At the very least, for Falcons, you're not playing into track just yet, right? Levels aren't quite there for jabs, so you're not feeding as much gold as you could be feeding onto Moodeng. However, this pressure onto Skitter is just a little bit untenable at the moment. Every single time as well, Abed just dips back into mid to push. And really the key thing is there's nothing to stop the swap. Like, you don't have the hard stuns to kind of cut areas away or to just keep her pinned down. You only really have, what, Unstable Concoction that you can bank on. Maybe a duel from Amar if the situation presents itself. But again, they were kind of cut off in that engagement. Just positioning not ideal for the side of Falcons. And Moodeng Warriors are utilizing this early game start to a very strong position. I like this build-up. JT just going for an Orchid, knowing that he doesn't really need to pipe this game. He can opt for a little bit more control and damage to provide onto his team. You've got Abed just going for the Dagon, already 2 parts in, just a few 100 gold away from that full recipe. So Queen of Pain just starts rectifying the downsides of a mask hit. And for the side of Falcons, I mean, outside of that great play for Amar top, you know, without the blink, it's just hard for him to look for these angles to just instantly lock in a hero, like, say, Abed. So you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that Blade Mail blink. You've got good tempo coming out from the side of Moodeng Warriors. They'll just dig into Roshan now. They don't have anything like the Ags up on 423, just the dominated creep up. But with the Metamorphosis commitment out from JT, I mean, this is not the quickest Rosh, but should still be a steady Roshan nonetheless with the Skelly Warriors around.
Well, that it should be, John. Roshan going down nicely here to Moodeng Warriors. Again, a very kind of complete polar opposite game here for Moodeng so far. Rotations coming through between gates from Falcons, but they are a bit late to the party. In fact, ATF doesn't seem to even know Roshan's happening. He's rushing towards Ollie instead, looking for an easy pick off onto the Venomancer. Crit does have hookshot whenever, just looking for the angle. They'll eventually run into Ollie, and Ollie should have no way out of this, though he does have teammates making their way over. So maybe they can trade if ATF does stick around, and for now he has. But it seems as though Moodeng Warriors, they will just leave them be. They don't want to go too far.
Yeah. Just play it measured. No need to overcommit on the side of Moodeng either. You only lose your Veno. He is getting a lot of space with jungle farm, but you don't need to risk that much else. You don't have the mana on Abed to really fully commit just yet. And you're trying to work the map as best as you can. Like, JT's just working top. You've got maybe a little bit more presence coming out from 423 pushing in, just shoving in onto the tier 2s. They are clumping around on Moodeng Warriors. Same thing goes for Falcons, kind of hugging the top area of their map just now. The two supports kind of playing poke with these illusions. But the aggression is starting to kick in for Moodeng, which is greatly timed anyhow. Track is up. Jabs wants to keep these kills going.
Lane. They are going to find ATF. It's a big target for them to take down, and with the Dagon of Arbed available, it won't be too much work for the side of Moodeng Warriors. Very nice pickup once again here from Moodeng.
And again, great understanding of the timings in this draft. With a Dagon plus track up, it's time to hit and run. It's time to punish Falcons for having to go a little bit slower, for not really snowballing from the laning phase. They're going to just walk into the tier 1 and get the track going on crit.
Will crit coming low for now is okay. Nice hook shot away back towards the creep wave as well. So not feeding his life to Moodeng Warriors, but they can still stick around and just secure this tier 1 top tower as a TP rotation also cancelled off by somebody.
There's Amar.
But no defense to come. Was that Amar? It was Amar.
Yeah, I think none of the rest of Falcons wanted to go in, so can't really just come in, try to duel. Didn't get the memo until that decision was made. So losing out in TP. It's free tier 1 for Moodeng Warriors, feels good. A smoke out from Falcons though. They do have that egg ready to go on snaking, just kind of need to try to find an angle to work with. And they've got the Mage Slayer up on Malrine, so you can mitigate some of the output of Abed if you do manage to pin him down. So far, the smoke's not really amounting to much. They're just going top. They have that forward vision up top, but no one's really showing there. No real further reach here for the side of Falcons, mainly defensive wards. As Moodeng Warriors will go for the resmoke themselves. Again, they've got everything up. Sonic Wave still ready. Just need a track kill to get things going again.
I'm going to try for crit. Cogs down. He does have hook shot to try and get away from this, but it's going to be a bit too hard. He will get taken down. Jabs to secure that one for himself. And now officially Moodeng Warriors with a 2k net worth advantage. Again, looking very happy with themselves about it. And Falcons, they are still playing catch up. Like looking back at Skitter, he's still not at the Radiance timing yet. Got enough gold for the Talisman of Evasion, so it should be relatively soon when he will have it up. But his courier did die as well to make matters worse, so the timing does get slowed down just a little bit. So far, I mean, this Alchemist game not looking too flash hot. It's a matter of whether Moodeng Warriors can keep this pressure going. Like, can they really continue to just not allow Falcons that farm and pace that they really want to be following here? I mean, so far, so good.
It is.
Mid lane.
Jabs.
Jabs was spotted. ATF popped the blade mail, looking for a duel out, but the roar is there from 423 to not allow it. And ATF might just be dying. Get a shield out, but it's not gonna make the difference unless he can run away, but he cannot. Abed finding a 5th kill for this game too already, not dropping 1 life yet. ATF desperately trying to find these dual victories, but it is costing him. Is now snaking. Also getting taken down by Ollie. And boy, this is such a different Moodeng Warriors than what we saw last game, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, again, the last game really did feel like a very big draft disadvantage for the side of Moodeng Warriors. This time around, in comparison, like, you look at this from the Bounty Hunter's perspective, you don't have anything like a Zeus to worry about, you don't have anything like a Nyx to worry about to spot you out. It's a very free game for Jabs to just walk around in Invis, snipe couriers, play poke in the lane, which we saw him do very successfully. They dodge out in these rougher lane matchups as well with the LC, although Amar is looking for a little bit of a play.
That he is. He'll make the jump in onto Ollie. And looks... Oh, he doesn't get the dual victory. They will at least kill him, so there is that. But misses out on that bonus damage. It's a bit of a shame for ATF, only sitting at 20 bonus damage at the 16.5 minute mark. Still looking to pick up that Blink Dagger so he can, you know, really get those duels going. But certainly, again, a slower game for the cause right now, Falcons. Moodeng Warriors, though, not looking to slow down anytime soon. Like, they do have the Ags up on 423, now looking to build a Blink Dagger. But it does certainly mean now that the POS 1 Beastmaster can start to truly get involved in these fights if they so wish. And I think he should, quite frankly. I don't think 423 needs to spend too much time farming if they can just take fights, because you do have some great pick-off potential now with that Ags available.
That you do. Again, I love the posturing out from Moodeng Warriors. They're just playing across the river. They're taking over this triangle. They're cutting off these safe areas to farm for Skitter, who does have the Radiance and wants to build up. They'll smoke out here though on Falcon's end.
Hook shot is there. Jump is in onto the Venomancer. Arbed gonna try and save. Ollie already down, but Crit is dropping low as well. Meanwhile, they have found JT on the TB. Crit does drop on the clockwork though, but it's a 2-for-1 trade so far in the favor of Falcons. Is now Skitter getting pretty low, but 4-2-3 is getting even lower. Skitter's still alive for now as Arbed's desperately trying to take him out, but he doesn't have enough damage.
Ooh.
But Jabs does. Jabs comes in and cleans him up with a shuriken toss the last second, and will make a run for it. So a team fight that seemed like it was going very well for Falcons ends up being a bit more even.
I'd say less than even. You're trading away your Alchemist for this offlane Terrorblade. It still feels good to find that big kill on JT, but you had to pop Egg. You're still a little bit more reliant on that cooldown for your big team fights, at least in area control here for the side of Falcons. You did pop Roar on 4-2-3, but it's not really the biggest loss in the world. It's not as long for cooldown, much more uptime for 4-2-3 to look for that next play. And it can just rinse and repeat. Remember, all of these kills are also coming out as track kills. So if you trade evenly on cores, with track, you still win for Moodeng Warriors. They are escalating that way quite nicely. Like, this farm from 4-2-3 keeping even with Skitter, not good news for the Alp. And that's just down to, again, a rougher laning start, track kills coming in whenever 4-2-3 is coming to join these engagements. And having all of this burst damage on hand. Like, we have to actually see that full glimmer for Skitter to try to save. They need multiple here as they're pressuring onto Malrine.
Certainly are. Snaking will be going down. Mid lane, they'll go for a bit more though. Crit does also get taken out here. A good start again as Arbed is going to get jeweled up here by ATF, and ATF does actually take him down. Very nice trade here for ATF. As Skitter now joining in, looking for another follow-up stun. Does catch Ollie, and that should be Ollie to go down as well. Falcons now fighting back and finding a pretty successful trade their way.
That was a lot cleaner. Great blink reveal out from Amar to catch out the Quap. And that's been one pain point for the side of Falcons, right? Like, Abed's been very free to jump in and out of these engagements. Now you have a good starting point for Falcons. Just pin down the Quap, try to focus her down with damage. The Blade Mail's going to do a lot of work and kind of softening her up as well. And Mara is back to being relevant in this game just with the blink up. So you do have some tools to play with on the side of Falcons. For the side of Moodeng Warriors, again, you've still got this 3k advantage up against an Alp draft. Amar, despite getting that link, yeah, he is still about 1,000 gold behind in comparison to the cores from Moodeng Warriors. So they do still have that one edge for themselves here. There's a rush straight into the Tormentor for Moodeng. Gonna be able to find that nice and quick. Same thing goes for Falcons as they're clumping around the Tormentor as well. 3B short for Ollie's pretty damn big. Now the dispels from Amar could end up hurting him if he's not too careful. And it will provide an opportunity here for Moodeng if that Prestige attack does come in to try to save. So you are opening up just a little bit more. You do get the shard out for snaking, some more impact from that Supernova with a Stun Ray as well. And that's one thing for Moodeng Warriors, focusing that egg. It is still a level 1 egg, mind you, but once you get the level 2 egg, if you get the cogs to protect, if this team fight does execute in the way Falcons would want it to go, things become very rough. Still, Abed, love this itemization again. Rushing the Lincolns, finds it. He knows the only thing that can hurt him is the duel from Amar. So that's one less thing to worry about. Mind you, you do have some ways of popping that. At the least, Unstable Concoction can help open it up. Maybe a static link very quickly into a blink duel can also kind of set up for you here as the smoke is coming through.
It is. Jump is there. They've got a roar out. Who have they got? It's going to be ATF. He's gone already. As Crit forced a hook shot away. Already a very nice start to this fight here for Moodeng Warriors. It's going to be about it. Though I say that, Falcons, they are going to go for a 4-man smoke. ATF does have buyback gold if he does require it, but Skinner unfortunately ends up stunning himself as he could not find anyone to catch out. They are still chasing and having a look. 423 has left himself behind. And they did see him, but they're unable to get within range again, so Skitter's going to end up stunning himself again. Meanwhile, Roshan does respawn in 5 seconds, so it seems as though the Moodeng Warriors should have a pretty good time trying to move in and maybe taking that. But Crit and Malrine finding JT. JT does have some help around him, but they aren't sticking around as they will see Skitter moving in. JT, he'll get a nice thunder off at the very least, buying himself more time, but the rest of the team once again just kind of sat back and watched him die.
Yeah, just a little bit awkward for Moodeng. That provides the opportunity for Falcons to try to contest Roshan themselves, but they'll play it safe as well, respecting the fact that The Terrorblade alone isn't enough for them to feel fully confident into the pit. But that's going to be the next flashpoint for our engagements here. Nice amp damage coming out for Abed. Already has the Veil of Discord coming out. So the magic damage on the Quap staying fully relevant in this game, despite the presence of some early Glimmer Capes here on the side of Falcons. And for Moodeng Warriors, even the BKB of 423 is not too far off. Whether or not he needs the BKB over something like the Glimmer Cape, I guess the disables. I guess just having a harder way of blocking off some debuffs is pretty damn big. And that Roche will begin, but Moodeng Warriors are also very aware of Roshan, already smoked up on their 2 supports. Jabs will scout out. There isn't really forward vision here, but they do have crit breaking the smoke at least.
Spin. Jabs gonna get stunned. He does have his team right behind him, though. He's not gonna get taken out that quickly. The Falcons still paying a lot of respect here. The side of Moodeng Warriors in game 2. Of course, they are 5k net worth behind, and well, the top net worth hero right now is still 423 on the Beastmaster, even ahead of the Alchemist. Roshan's still standing, of course. Neither side willing to give this next Roshan up. They will retreat. Is Roshan now going to officially begin? Falcons still hanging about again. No reason to retreat. They really can't afford to give these Roshans away for free. They've got to try and contest. It's just very hard moving in when you've got a bounty hunter just watching every step of the way, though. ATF going to jump in with a nice duel out onto Jabs. We'll take him down. 423, though, with the raw route onto ATF, trying to take him out. But no, 423! He's gone too! JT trying to fight. Thunder is there, but it's not going to matter. He's down a bird. Oh, an ugly, ugly fight for Moodeng Warriors. And suddenly the net worth swings all the way back to Falcons. And you can see Falcons, they seem to believe that the whole game has flipped their way.
And you can't fault them. A beautiful setup coming out there from the side of Falcons. And it was down to just Crit getting this great position to trap them by the ramp on that gate. The side of Moodeng Warriors just kind of hesitant, right? Like, they were scouting out with Jabs. They weren't really ready to back him up if he did get jumped. Abed just instantly bailed out the moment the egg was dropped and the cogs were there. And that just led to a fight that you couldn't really sustain. 423 also just blinking in, again, not waiting for this BKB before forcing Roche or even before forcing the fight. It means without that spell immunity, without his own way of mitigating some magic damage, he just melts to all of this output coming in from Falcons. They clean up. 1k lead back their way, not a massive lead by any means, still not a good position if you are Alchemist, only being 1k ahead, but they evened the game out. And that is important considering how much we were seeing coming out here from Moodeng Warriors. For the Warriors side, they need this BKB to be up on 423. I don't know if you can really afford to jump in like that in the middle of everyone in such a confined area with no one really to back him up. They couldn't even get like a Thunder Save going from JT. They have to be very respectful for the potential 5v5, considering just how great Falcons utilize their area denial. And you have Egg, you have Cogs. It's not the most stable way to ensure you get big usage out from snaking, but it's worked out, and this early shard from snaking is just doing a ton of work. Just the egg drop with Sunray all the way back, and no one can clear the egg. It's just a nightmare for the side of Moodeng. They have to be so cautious when they're fighting in tight spots like that.
Oh, of course. Well, tier 2 mid tower will be going down. Falcons now in a prime position to take this game back their way. I mean, still Moodeng Warriors not to be outdone yet. They are still in a pretty good position. 423 though is in the middle of nowhere right now. Maureen's going to spot him out. 423 doesn't have a TP either to make matters even worse. And the jewel is there from ATF. And these are the kind of kills you really don't want to see if you're Moodeng Warriors. That's your Pos 1 Beastmaster going down all by himself down to that bottom lane. And these are, again, these are the kills that are going to make it much harder to get back into this game for Moodeng.
And it does. 2k lead now for the side of Falcons off the back of that. These track kills have slowed down for Moodeng Warriors as well. They've not been able to really find isolated targets to feed off of. Yeah, Falcons, the confidence coming back in. They've got 90 damage on Amor. He's going for his own Lincoln Sphere up. It almost feels like you need to see Lincoln spammed out on the side of Moodeng, just because it's felt like the duels are just what's ruining them, right? Even though you're only catching, say, the support, like in that last Roche fight, just catching out Jabs, but You take away the factor of bounty hunter, you know you're not going to lose economically in that kind of fight anyhow. You know that the nuisance of these shuriken toss from the back off that magic damage stacking up isn't going to be a threat, and just lose out a lot of the power in your draft here on Moodeng. So maybe some more defensive items come in, can start to help the cause if you can start to consider secondary Lincolns here. Siege onto the tier 2, already down to 500 HP. Fortify forced out, still going to be able to find his objective. On the side of Falcons, and if they wanted to poke high ground, they don't need to worry about a Fortify on the tier 3 at the very least. So they do have access there if they want, but they're just playing chill. They know they scale up here. They're looking for a bit of a chase down bot, actually.
ATF. Not going to quite find a target to jump on. Of course, the Venom wards were making it quite hard for him to find a blink in. Moodeng Warriors, though, you can see that they are feeling quite passive now at this stage of the game. Like, they're not feeling as comfortable as they once did, so definitely playing a lot more carefully here, Moodeng Warriors. So, Falcons. It seems like they're the ones that want to try and get aggressive now. Still have a bit more time on the Aegis, and Ollie is going to be spotted here by Skitter. So, Skitter happily to make the jump in. Crit's going to find him with a hook shot, and that should be Ollie dead. With that, at least the Aegis does expire in 45, so you don't have that to worry about too much longer here for Moodeng Warriors, but I still think the game's kind of flipped here.
That it has, again, a duel.
A nice duel from ATF. Not going to be enough to kill off the Beastmaster yet, but he's pretty damn close. The problem is ATF now is dead. Uh-oh, and they've also lost the Alchemist. 423 makes his way out. Skitter. He will be okay. His Aegis was literally just about to expire anyway, so he won't mind dying, but ATF dying like that, not going to feel too good.
Certainly not. Big turnaround. Just that survival for 423 from Duel. Barely getting through that one. Does manage to turn for the roar afterwards, and you still have to respect the Drums of Islam with a Veil, plus, you know, just having the Shivas as well on Abed. Magic damage can still pour out. A little bit confident out from Falcons. Maybe not expecting that punishment. That does equalize the game. Just back down to a 1k lead. Aegis was set to expire anyhow, but you don't have to worry about that secondary life. You have a tier 2 for yourself here on the side of Moodeng Warriors, and they look like they can consider high ground. I mean, you have a Terrorblade. He does have the SNY. JT will just try to see what he can force back here, and will be Malrine showing up, but with a Force Staff spam as well being available on Jabs, can really line up for some easy times with a static link. They do manage to clear out all of the outer towers though on Falcon's end. Right, so there's nothing left for Moodeng to hog outside of their high ground, outside of just their outpost as a TP point, opening up the map tremendously for the side of Falcons to try to build a lead back in here. And for a Moodeng side, I mean, 423 having the Veil is nice. The Shivas is going to be a nice step as well. Double Shivas isn't too bad considering how Abed wants to position himself in these fights anyhow. So you're basically looking at two fronts. Anyway, one front with everyone clumping around 423, another front for Abed and flanking. This will allow complete coverage in whatever part of the map they play in. But I would say the refresh is the bigger pickup for 423. If you can get to the point where the refresh orb is fully finished, double BKB, double roar changes this game in a massive way. And again, that's also going to lead into that point where JT is basically your carry as he's slowly working his way into that. Like he's going for the Hurricane Pike, you can start to consider the Scotty afterwards. And again, once you have the Scotty, plus the Poison Sting on Jabs with his talent giving even higher HP reduction, this Alchemist is not going to feel that tanky. It already does feel like the case for Skitter if he's not too careful with how many heroes can surround him here.
Now through the mid lane, seems like Falcons maybe wouldn't try and pressure them into the fight. Falcons hanging by in the mid lane. Moodeng Warriors still just trying to allow 423 that time to work towards that refresher orb, but we are going to see a 4-man smoke now by Falcons. Malrine, he'll reveal himself in the mid lane, just farming the creep wave. No one will take that bait. Falcons will run down towards the bottom lane where they do see the side of Moodeng Warriors. Ollie immediately just going to TP out, and so will Jab, so they are well aware that they were coming. Seems like Moodeng have successfully avoided any kind of fight that was coming their way. And I suppose if anything, if you're Moodeng Warriors, like you'd love to force a high ground fight on your side of the base if you can. It doesn't seem like Falcons are really going to give that opportunity over, to be fair, but Falcons, for now, not able to find a fight with that smoke rotation.
Yeah, I don't think you mind the slow game too much for Falcons anyhow. Like you've got this great scaling with Ags being built up by Skitter, which is going to be able to start to pass that along. And Ags up on Malrine going to be huge with the Eye of the Storm plus the Thunderhead facet. Just allows you to really take control in these fights if no one insta-bursts down the Razor. And Ags up on Amar could be good as well, although it maybe feels a little bit less important here. Moodeng now out with her own smoke, taking almost the same flank angle as the side of Falcons did, trying to run down south instantly. They don't have the benefit of having forward wards themselves, not like Falcons did, spotting everyone from Moodeng walking to the bot lane.
Well, they see
Doesn't
JT.
look like they're going.
They saw themselves a Terrorblade there, John, but JT does end up going back to the high ground of the base, so they give up on that. They'll run down south instead. Roshan has respawned, so both sides can be fighting over that now. Falcons. They'll start Roshan, rather Moodeng Warriors. In fact, Malrine, he's going to jump in. Jabs, going to be spotted. Malrine. Hookshot is there. Looks like they will just try to focus down Jabs, and they've got him. A nice start for the Roshan attempt. I mean, if you're Moodeng, I don't think you can really afford to just let this go.
No. It's so awkward. 43 had a good roar angle. Malrine was basically by himself. They didn't jump for it. Now they've got the numbers advantage into Roche. At least they can try to scout out with these illusions. They're smoked up again on Moodeng. They need to find a good angle. They've gotten a lot of sentries down. They've got ward vision down as well with these plague wards down. They can try to retake some control, but they need to be cautious about their positioning. Can't be stuck in a tight area again.
Well, here we go again. They found themselves JT. Meanwhile, 423 though jumping in right onto ATF, but ATF is perfectly fine with that BKB active, and he'll go for a duel out.
Lord.
423, he's completely surrounded. Nobody's available to help. They're still just trying to chase Malrine, and they do get the Razor. It's not the worst fight so far for Moodeng. They have found themselves a hero advantage in this fight. And Moodeng Warriors, they want more. They'll chase down ATF now. Skitter's going to try and reinitiate onto Arbed. He'll move in, but he can't get the stun off because he's been silenced. He will at least stun JT along with himself. But Skitter, has he gone too far? He's fighting 4 versus 1. They'll finally drop the egg, and the Sunray Skitter's still just trying to man fight, but he can't do it. The Glimmer Cape, it's going to save. It'll buy him the time, and JT is down. Oh, this stupid item. This Glimmer Cape. How many times are we going to see heroes just on the edge of death surviving because of this Glimmer Cape usage?
We're going to see it a lot, Mike. You know, Glimmer Cape's just all over the place. And you can't fault teams for going for it. Moodeng Warriors just not having the vision to back that up. Again, they get themselves stuck in a tight area. They don't take care of this back line first. 423 just gets way too aggro. He's not that tanky in the Beastmaster. And that cost them. If they had 423 around for that kind of chase down, I don't think the same circumstances would come in. And now Roche number 2 gets surrendered to Falcons with a free Ag's Blessing as well. So now you're going to have some upgrades coming in. You're going to have that on crit. He's going to have a rocket flare spam, a little bit more utility coming out when he turns on that overclocking as well. And for the side of Moodeng Warriors, the game's starting to slip out of you just a tad bit here. 10k lead out for the side of Falcons. JT, bottom net word on his side of the team. At this point, you do want the Terrorblade to actually get some form priority going his way, and it doesn't feel like he's just finding that yet, because his damage is there. When Metamorphosis turns on, he's managing to right-click. It is scary. It's just not enough to really blow heroes apart just yet. You do get your first Ags out from Skitter, and he is starting to gift things around. Malrine does have his upgrade up. So now you have to deal with Thunderhead plus the Eye of the Storm upgrade with the 2 strikes. There's a lot to be worried about. And that simplifies the high ground push here for Falcons as well with that free upgrade. Moodeng Warriors, they need to try to play, just single target pickoff when the side of Falcons is split apart, but they've again, not managed to really find those opportunities. And they've just slowed down extremely on these track kills. Like, they've not been able to work this out with jabs. He's in the front line. He's getting blown apart. Even with that level 15 talent with Shadow Walk, still just melts once damage is committed onto him. And your scaling here from JT isn't fully done. Oh, okay. So they handed the Ags over to Malrine. The Ags blessing from Malrine. I saw the Ags buyout though from Skitter unless he changed it. I guess he did.
Okay. Well, it doesn't really matter anyway. I mean, Malrine's got Ags up. Seems like Falcons want to start making a move to the high ground.
Okay. They just handed it back for the gold. Sort of with the full Satanic done. And Malrin's just too durable to kind of take care of. They dropped the banner. They focused in on that tier 3. Again, with the Ags to upgrade Eye of the Storm, if they want to commit it for Malrine, this siege just doesn't take too long. They'll just play it nice and safe, though, on the side of Falcons. And for Moodeng, their best bet is to solo pick off somehow here. Malrine twice over is not an easy go, though.
Well, tier 3 tower going down pretty quick just to the Razor. Going to be very hard with the Roshan banner just sitting there to defend this if they don't want to try and move in for a fight.
Refresh for Malrine as well. Double Eye of the Storm. They're really not pushing it here on the side of Moodeng. Just going to surrender it. Not even forcing Malrine to pop any of that. Just a slow, steady siege. And the angle for Moodeng is just so hard to find. Again, best thing you can hope for is maybe jumping backline, getting Roar, insta-bursting someone down, getting a numbers advantage off of that. You just can't find it. Falcons are very, very clumped up right behind Malrine. Abed just forced the Sonic Wave to clear out the Creep Wave. It is only a 35-second cooldown at least, but you have a lot of time here on the side of Falcons to just clean up.
And that they are. Malrine not backing off at all. Because why would he? And you can see, I mean, ATF, he could just sit behind and just purge off any debuffs they apply to Malrine. JT's going to pop the Metamorphosis. That should scare him off a little bit. And it seems like now if you're Falcons, you just wait out that meta to end. It will end eventually. In fact, they're just pinging out the TB. ATF's thinking about jumping in for a duel with the Blade Mail, but doesn't bother. Still waiting out that Metamorphosis, but it's already over half its duration gone. Falcons ensuring the bottom lane does remain forced in as ATF thinking again about going for a duel attempt, but the Glimmer Cape usage from JT going to be hard, but no, he does jump in. He'll get the duel off, and JT, he is just melting to the damage output. He is down. 4-2-3 now getting dived towards the fountain. Malrine's committed as well. Has he gone too far? Malrine! The Satanic keeping him alive. He'll continue just hitting away, killing off 4-2-3, and he walks out. Disgusting. GG well played. They've had enough. No buybacks available. They can't defend. No. And Falcons, they do pull off the 2